I was sat on the floor on the Paris pavement, just my legs sticking out, the top half, just a concrete block. They called me up and they said, we've got an idea for a video that we want you to be involved with. Are you keen? And then Fashion Week happened.
I think we're going to dive into that, aren't we?
Yeah, I think
so
we are.
You were, let me remember the name. So you were Maximus Bucharest from Bucharest. This was this character, and Zach and Jay, for anyone who doesn't know, we've had them on the show before. A couple of lovely lads, a couple of YouTubers. Their most popular video to date is we faked a model to the top of Fashion Week. It's currently on 17 million views.
That's mental.
And in this video, they dress up. Their friend is the most crazy model ever, and they send him to Paris Fashion Week?
London Fashion Week first, and then we did Paris Fashion Week.
And you happen to be that friend.
I was that friend, yeah. So I got a call from Zach saying, hi mate, I want you to be in a video. Don't ask questions. We're having a meeting about it later. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll come along. And like the thing, in my position, I was on 1,300 subscribers at the time. I was on about 20,000 likes on Facebook. So I thought anything I can like be with these guys was really good exposure for me. So I met them and they were like, we want to put a fake model and get them somehow to break into London Fashion Week. So I thought, okay, how are we going to do this? So we met. Unfortunately, they thought about this halfway through London Fashion Week. So we had 48 hours to pull this off. So all our plan was to go to Primark, dress in the most ridiculous stuff, go back to my flat, and then like do something. That was the extent of it. Like nothing more than that. So we went back to my flat. We bought some weird stuff, bought some weird glasses, and we then got stuff that was lying around my flat. So my mum had given me a carpet or a rug for my sofa that we then realised, oh, hold on, if we pin it like this, it looks like a dress. I had some marigold gloves that I hadn't opened. So we then just took them and thought, how can we make this a bit weirder? Oh, let's just snip the ends off. So we'd like cut the ends of the fingers off. We went to WH Smith and we got fragile packing tape that you'd normally get. And we thought, well, what can we do with let's maybe like use the letters of fragile and get them to say something else. So we then reordered them to say life, rage, gag, and raw. That was it. And then we just stuck that onto a t-shirt.
It's so stupid. It's genius.
So stupid. And then we realised, well, okay, how are we going to make a scene? Well, paparazzi are going to be around. So we then got our friend Coco to come with us, and she had a camera, and then Zach and Jay had a camera. So we walked to Somerset House in London, which is where it was all happening. And it was the end of the day. It was getting dark. And then Coco then started like flashing the camera. Like at this point, we didn't know the name of the model. We didn't know anything else. I was just dressed.
Wow! You hadn't even come up with the name.
No, we didn't know what the name was. And so they were like, so Coco started flashing the camera and started saying, Max, over here, over here, over here. Then Zach started doing it, or Jamie started doing it, and then the paparazzi just went, who's this bloke? And then just went mental. So I was just like standing there, like being like a model, so being really rude to people, looking really bored, and that's when Zach had a photographer come up to him and he said, oh my god, who's this guy? And Zach just blurted out, he's called Maximus Bucharest from Bucharest. And so that's how the name stuck. So that evening we went home and we thought, oh, that did all right. And we then went on Instagram, and I was all over like the London Fashion Week Instagram for like street fashion, like, oh, this guy Maximus Bucharest. And so we then, using that info, we then messaged one of the shows the next day, be like, we've got this new model, he's making a big scene, like we really think you should come to your show. And they were like, yeah, fine, here's 2 tickets. So
how is it that easy?
So then they gave us 2 tickets, and I remember, so this is when we had a ticket, so I knew I was getting in. So I thought, I can go mental here. I can look ridiculous and not worry about people looking at me like, oh, you look awful. So that point, we then found plastic packaging tape that you get, like these big bubbles.
Yeah, the air pocket
the air
thing.
Pockets.
Yeah.
And we then safety pinned them to my shirt. So they became like a collar of sorts. We got Zach had some shoes from prison when he'd spent a night in a cell. So Zach brought us some European grade prison shoes that I wore, and then I wore pretty much the same outfit, and I just kind of walked straight in. But what's interesting is what you don't know is that when I was putting it together, it was so intricate the safety pins like came out, and one of them was digging into my back, so it would come out of its guards. It was one was in my back. I said to them on the tube, I was like, guys, there's a safety pin on my back. They were like, oh, it's fine. And so I was generally quite like annoyed because I was in so much pain. So I was walking around, like people are asking me for pictures. Who are you dressed as? And at which point I thought, well, who the hell am I going to say I'm dressed as? So I thought, well, we got the fragile packing tape from WH Smith. So I looked up what WH stood for. So I just said, I'm wearing Walton Henry Smith.
Oh, so
and they,
good.
They bought it hook, line, and sinker.
So good.
So we did that video. Zach posted it, and I thought, oh, that went quite well. People were really enjoying it. And then I suddenly got loads of messages on my Instagram, all in Mandarin.
Oh.
And I was like, what's going on here? And there's one guy who spoke English. He was like, mate, you're famous in China. So what do you mean I'm famous in China? He's like, someone took the video, uploaded like Chinese subtitles to it, and then whacked it on Weibo, which is their social media. And it went so megally, but like 75 million people saw it. So we then thought, right, well, Paris Fashion Week is coming up. Why don't we just do this? But this time we plan it and we seriously, like, we get this done. So we thought, okay, what could we do? And there was a guy in the first video who'd given me a concrete block that he was selling, and he called himself Johnny Concrete. This guy was hilarious. And so Johnny Concrete we found out was a furniture maker who made loads of furniture in concrete. So we called up Johnny Concrete and said, Johnny, could you make a concrete dress? And he was like, he was the most accommodating guy. I was like, I'll see what I can do. 2 days later, he's like, yeah, guys, I've made a concrete dress for you. So we walked in, and there was this wearable piece of concrete he'd fashioned. It was basically just a square. So I put my head in, put the arms out the side, and just waddled around.
How heavy was that?
It was heavy. Like, you couldn't wear it for more than 15 minutes.
Right.
And then after the first video had happened, I was at one of these posh drinks parties that my mum often has. And one of her friends came up to me, who's a jewelry designer. Quite a successful jewelry designer. She's like, Kate Middleton has worn her stuff before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, so she's like really big jewelry designer. And she said to me, Maxie, darling, I saw your first video you did with the fashion. There's wonderful stuff. She said, I would love to, I'd love to break China. I'd love to get like my product out to China. Like, how would you be able to do that? I was like, well, I said, could you give me some of your earrings that I could wear at the next video we're doing in Paris? She said, yes, okay, that's fine. So before we left for Paris, I went into this jeweler's in Sloane Square, and she just like, which earrings would you like to take with you? I was like, well, any? She said, yeah, of course. I was like, those ones look all right. So she took them. And I looked them up online. They cost something like $8,000. These earrings, like proper diamond earrings. And so we took these. So we had the concrete block. We had the perpendicular look. We were going to Paris. Now, all I was thinking about was, I cannot lose these earrings. These earrings need to stay on me. And so we had a plan of sticking the earrings to a toaster rack to make.
Of course you did.
Yeah, to like make Maximus Bucharest look. Although he's got a toaster rack on his face, he's also wearing like $8,000 worth of jewelry. And we walked around Paris. Now in Paris, different was London, because Paris, they are very much more about the chic side of fashion. They like love suits. They look very well put together. So the wacky side of fashion doesn't really make a difference. So we went to 4 or 5 shows and like did the same trick, like Maximus over here, over here, over here. No one gave a shit. No one cared who I was. It was so demoralizing. Remember, I was walking around Paris in a concrete block.
That's probably the most demoralizing outfit you could have been wearing.
It was awful. And it got to the point where it was also, we realized the same paparazzi would go to the different shows because they knew exactly who they were looking for, who they wanted to get pictures of. So I was getting like visibly laughed at. And then eventually we thought our last chance is to go to Balmain, the big Balmain show. Now, this was a big deal. We thought, okay, how are we going to make a scene? And we found in Paris, just lying in Paris, this Perspex big like plastic sheet. So we thought, if I wear this Perspex sheet, and we were doing this with another subscriber, Zach and Jay, who was Parisian. He's called Max. He was also called Max.
Right.
So me and him, we dressed up in these 2 outfits. If we walk up to the front of the Balmain show, where everyone's queuing, all the paparazzi are under this like sheet that no one knows who we are, then maybe when we take the sheet off, they think we're these like really, really impressive models. Now, remember, I then was walking through Paris with a Perspex sheet over my head, with $8,000 worth of jewelry dangling from my face behind a concrete block, and they whipped off the Perspex sheet, and just everyone was like, "Who are you?" It was awful. Even worse is that there was a lot of policemen there in France as well, because they'd had the Paris attacks relatively recently. So they went for a beeline for us. They didn't know what we were. They just saw two guys, one wearing a concrete block and one wearing a really baggy curtain. So quite rightly, they like went for us. And now if you watch the video, it's so funny because I'm walking. There's a shot of me walking. You can see a policeman going right for me. He's walking straight towards me to come and have a chat. At which point, the other model, Max, walks in front of me. So he's the one who gets stopped by the police, and I just walk off with these like earrings dangling away. And then we managed to keep the earrings and give them back. But it was that Paris trip was so demoralising. It got even worse actually. On the last day, I was like, right, this Max guy wasn't there, so I was going to be wearing the concrete block again. I got stuck in it. So we did the gym, like we went outside one of these shows and no one took any pictures. So I got quite embarrassed. So I just walked off down the street as if I was like making this big protest. And then I just stood in the street and I thought, right, previously it needed 2 people to take this big concrete block off.
Right.
So I thought, oh, it's so hot. I just need to get this thing off. So I tried to like maneuver it off my body, at which point I physically got stuck in concrete. And so there was at one point with just my legs, I was sat on the floor on the Paris pavement, just my legs sticking out, the top half, just a concrete block. And I just heard this old woman going, "Est-ce que je peux vous aider?" Which means something like, "Can I help you?" In my like GCSE French, I was like, "Oui." And this 85-year-old French woman like pulled a concrete block off of me. And I was just like, "Merci beaucoup," and she just walked off on her day.
Sounds like a TGF video.
Oh, honestly, it was mad. And so after that, like we've kind of very much like shelved Maximus Bucharest after.
What a story that is.